Today we are speaking with Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo. He has a very interesting life story. Currently, he serves as the president of the Salvation Army Polytechnic in Monrovia, Liberia. He is founder of One Life Liberia, an organization that advances education and sustainable development in the most marginalized communities in Liberia. Findings from Dr. Urey's work at the University of Wisconsin-Madison informed the drafting of a land rights bill that explicitly recognized the land rights of millions of rural Liberians. The bill, described by the international civil societies as one of the most progressive land laws on the African continent, was a difficult one to pass. What makes Dr. Urey's accomplishments even more outstanding is that he started formal schooling at the age of 13. Welcome to Storie with Linda, Dr. Urey. How are you?
Yes, good afternoon to you and good morning to those in other places. I'm doing okay this morning and nice introduction. Really happy to be on your show today.
Thank you so much for making the time. I know you were in traffic just before we had to start this. So you are currently in Monrovia, is that right?
Yes, I'm currently in Monrovia. I'm currently in my office, actually, the Salvation Army Polytechnic. There I am right now.
Wow, wonderful. And how was the traffic in Monrovia? So I've traveled to a number of countries. I feel like Accra Osu has the worst traffic that I've experienced. Well, maybe Lagos is bad too, but how's the traffic in Monrovia?
Well, I mean, it depends. Sometimes in the morning hour, late afternoon hour, weekdays, traffic can be really jammed. Sometimes over the weekend, when there's a breakdown, when vehicle breakdown, of course, at that part of the road, it builds traffic. So sometimes traffic is very unexpected sometimes.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll go into the questions that I have for you. You wear many hats. You do many things. So we'll try to touch on a number of them. What made me really want to interview you actually was when I learned about your work fighting for the rights of Liberians to have their land rights recognized. For those who know nothing about that bill, could you tell us about it, why it's important, and what is the state of things right now?
Yes, I think studying the University of Wisconsin, working with Professor Mike Turner, and of course, Greg Littman and other professors, I started to study more about land right in the Nursing Institute for Environmental Studies. And the field I'm trying to develop my own career in is how do you reduce poverty? So when you study that deeply, when you go to rural areas, all they have is land. And if that right is taken away, like before 2018, before we passed this law, the land was in the hands of the government. So the indigenous people, the rural people did not have any land right. For them to get any right to that land, the process, it was a very long process. So we set up to be able to work with the Land Commission and civil society in Liberia so that that property right could be explicitly given to the indigenous people. So today in Liberia, we have the law. Before government can grant concession for any development, the government need to go and ask the people for the land. The people have to advance their interest in the land. What benefit would they get? They have to agree first before that land is given. Prior to that, it was not like that. So I think fundamentally, if we want to fight climate change, we want to reduce poverty, clarifying property rights, mainly surrounding land is very important, and giving indigenous people the right over their land is very important. That's why we set out to do this work we did.
This is so interesting because it makes me think about some stories that I've heard in my own birth country, Cameroon, of government just coming in, taking land and selling to foreign individuals that have come into the country. I guess I'm curious if you know much about the landscape of land rights, maybe in West Africa or in Africa in general, and how the advocacy is going. You know, so you guys have made a a big breakthrough in Liberia. Just curious, what is the state of such advocacy around the continent?
I think what we have achieved in Liberia, a lot of countries are trying to learn from it. So many times I made presentation to different land institutions around the world, just what we did here. Africa and West Africa particularly, we all have, when it comes to the way we manage land, we have some similarities. There may be differences, but we also have some similarities. For instance, this is a property. We're talking about land. We say land belongs to the dead. In our instances, the land belongs to them. The land belongs to us that are living now, and the land belongs to those that are yet to be born. And so that's really the broader definition of land. If you look at land in that context, then you cannot get treat land anyway. How you've got to be respectful to the land. It's difficult for you to see one person to claim the entire land. Is inheritance, is clan ownership, extended family ownership. So when you look at from here all the way to Ghana or even part of South Africa and different parts of Africa, that are seeing context apply. And so that's why Western form of land ownership, for instance, what was done in the US, they have a very clear land management and land documentation process because those who were having the land, they were wiped out. So the Indians were wiped out, basically. So the land was vacant to be able to demarcate. But here, you don't do that easily. If you do that, you're really going to undercut the survival of the people because land is also cultural based. It's not get material worth. So that's a topic we can take a little bit of time to try to unpack, but I think I'll leave it there for now.
Oh, yes. Thank you. No, I appreciate even that summary. It's important for us to know the importance of land and its relation to climate change and people's economic development. So in addition to that work serving at Landisa, where you are a consultant to the Liberian government and civil society in regards to land rights, land reform in Liberia, you are also the president of the Salvation Army Polytechnic. And I'm curious how it's been serving in that role, what has been most rewarding and what has been most challenging.
You know, like you said, I started school at a very old age, but at some point, the Salvation Army Church brought me to Monrovia. In fact, the church is the one that brought me to Monrovia, helped to pay for my high school education and part of my college education, actually, my bachelor degree and a master's degree. So in 2010, I started to work with this particular school. It was a vocational program. I started here as a warehouse manager. I was the one taking care of the warehouse. But I went back, I started to work with the proprietor to develop a curriculum to be able to set it to offer associate degree. In 2011, I left and went to the States. So by then I graduated 2018. When I came back, the accreditation for associate degree was granted late 2017. And so the church asked me with somebody with PhD to help to be able to lead the school. And since 2018, I've done this voluntarily to be able to help the church. As of November 2022, the school was elevated to 4 bachelor degrees program. So we are now offering vocational program, associate degree program, as well as bachelor degrees in Liberia. And we are the only institution in Liberia that is truly a polytechnic, giving the chances to everyone involved. Any set of education you want, you can obtain it at our college here. So we're very, very honored by that.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what has been most rewarding serving in that role?
I think what has been more rewarding is giving me as a young professional to be able to exercise my education with integrity principle, which we coin as the motto of the school. The motto of our college is education with integrity. So how do you fight corruption in education institution? How do you innovate so that students gain the kind of knowledge they need to get for them to go out and serve their family and the community, Liberia and the world at large? We've been able to achieve that. Over 90% of our graduates are employed based upon the kind of internship program we develop here, along working with, of course, Dr. Suku and other people, Vice President Dean, very academic deans, working with them, everyone forging for the same goal. That is, how do we get students who will graduate from here? They are so much qualified, but they also have the integrity so that those who are, for instance, the vocational program, those who are doing plumbing, when they leave from here, when they make an estimate as to work for somebody, that
Mhm.
estimate should be accurate and they should not inflate the numbers. So those kind of things we've been working on, and then we've been seeing the product. A lot of our students who graduated from here are working with the Liberia Electricity Corporation. We're getting a lot of good feedback. Some of them have obtained scholarship or travel around the world for further study based upon their performances. So those kind of things are really, really happy and humble, and especially group of men and women here willing to work with me to get to that point. So we're very humble about it.
Oh my. We'll get to this question about integrity, but I want to note that it's something that runs across all your conversations. And I've known you for a couple of years now, and this is not the first time I've heard you talk about integrity as a very important thing in your work. So we'll get to that. You are the founder of One Life. Oh no, one more question. What's been the most challenging thing being the president of the Polytechnic?
I think the greater challenge we have faced here is really to get adequate finances to run the school. I think it has been really challenging based upon the kind of maybe almost, I mean, we started the school almost with zero budget, and we've been able to lift it up to this point. But the major challenge we face here is financial challenge. However, we are working with the administration and teachers here at BNP on time just to make sure that we run the school. But the major challenge we still face here is actually financial challenges, especially when you look at the economy of Liberia. You cannot charge the students too high. They won't be able to pay. Even the minimum one we charge is difficult for them to raise it. So I think that's a major challenge we're facing here.
Okay, so you get funding from fees and the government, maybe?
No, mainly we get funding from fees. That's really where we're getting. Sometimes we do write grant proposal. Sometimes the church itself will chip in a little bit, but the church itself have been going through financial challenges as well. So yeah, so that is the major challenge. However, I think our ability to solve problems are greater than the challenges that we face. So we don't really take that as major. We take as an opportunity to
As an
innovate.
opportunity.
Yeah,
I love that
exactly.
we say
Yeah.
opportunity areas.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's wonderful. So you are also the founder of One Life Liberia, as I mentioned in my introduction, which focuses on education and agriculture. And I'm curious about the agricultural part because we've spoken about how you're fostering education through your role with the Polytechnic. And I'm just curious, what is the big focus when it comes to agriculture? And what are some of the opportunity areas that you see when it comes to agriculture in Liberia?
You know, the information leading to the formation of One Liberia and One Life Liberia started. The village I was born and grew up in all the way until 13 years old before I started school. Whenever I visited the school, there were kids also, there are kids there who don't have any opportunity to go to school. So this is in 2017, I set out to do some fundraising to be able to build school in there. And later on, it became known that, in fact, having an institution to administer that fund and instituting accountability to donors are very important. That led in and working with folks from the Liberian Assistance Program in Madison to be able to establish One Life Liberia. But then we went into agriculture because we built a school. But how do you support the school, right? And you will not have continuous fund coming in from donors. So we established an agriculture farm, working with parents and the students and the teachers to be able to raise money to support the school. So that's the work we've been doing. But generally, agriculture is fundamental to Liberia. And if we were developed as a nation, we really need to pay key attention to agriculture because our country is what? Almost 70% agriculture economy. So I think it's very important. And since then, we have been looking into growing palm oil, intercropping, rice, and different kinds of products. So that has helped the school, but we're also using agriculture on a broad-based level to be able to create both employment, but also support livelihood in Liberia.
One running theme again that I'm hearing in your responses is self-sufficiency. Everything you're doing, you're not just waiting for the outside donors, but you're really trying to make sure that you're finding something from within the country and sustaining your initiatives, which I think is fabulous. So my next question, and I didn't mention this in introducing you, but perhaps people can see from your background that you are into politics, should I say, or you're getting into politics. So you are running to become a member of parliament. And I'm curious, why? Why are you going this route?
Excellent question. The reason why I'm doing that is to give me a greater platform to serve humanity. Because politicians, especially lawmakers, they have big stake in the economy. They have the decision they may affect a lot of people. And what we're seeing in Liberia, and not only Liberia, across Africa and many developing countries, is that sometimes the leaders don't really have what it takes for them to lift the people out of poverty. And so we can do work with the university here. We can do work with One Life Liberia and many other things we involved with, but those are minimum as compared to if we were given chance to work in parliament so that we're able to drive government policy in the way that it's supposed to be done. I haven't seen any country around the world that have been developed by NGOs. Development is led by government until you can have serious government. Yes. And how do you have serious government? Serious people have to be in government to make government serious for the betterment of the people. That's the essence that we are getting into politics.
And you are running for Bong District. Is that in the north, south?
Well, it's in the northern part of Bong County in Liberia, district number 4. It's my district actually border with the with the Republic of Guinea, where Liberia, part of it is part of our district. District number 4 is in northern Liberia and northern Bong County.
And in the background, I see, is that your running motto for your?
Oh, the Change Makers Network. So it starts from the point that one tree cannot make a forest. If I'm trying to get into the House of Parliament with this integrity view and everything, and if many people there don't really buy what I'm talking about, I'm not going to make a difference. So for that reason, we established the Change Makers Network, where we take electoral district, the few candidates that are outstanding their in terms of popularity, we try to filter them using certain criteria. Those who have good behavior, we contact them to form part of the Change Makers Network so that we group as together. So those of us who will win, that group will still go in the house. So when we are talking, we talk with group of people, not just Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo alone causing noise. That's the reason why we have the Change Makers Network. And that's the banner at the background.
Okay, Change Makers Network. Okay, I love that, going together, not alone, because if you go alone, it will be hard to sustain, actually. It's yes, difficult sometimes. Integrity and honesty runs in everything you really say or do. And I attended your campaign lunch here in Madison, Wisconsin, where you declared all your assets, both in Liberia and in the US. And I'm just curious why you chose to do that and to center honesty and integrity. I feel like it's a bit unlike someone going into politics to champion that.
Exactly. And this is the problem we have. Until politicians can have the quality of integrity and transparency and accountability, we can have good governance. And because we don't have good governance, we don't have a developed and a well-structured country. So for that reason, everything we do, even the group of people we work with, the young people we mentor in Liberia and around the world, integrity is the center of our lecture. So that, because if you're going to make any change, you have to be the change yourself. If Liberians are accused of corruption, in many instances that's true, and that's the effect of the maternal mortality and the poverty rate we see from misuse of entrusted resources from the government. If anyone wants to change that, you have to be the change maker yourself. The way we do it and the way we are doing with the change makers is that all members, we have drafted a document that eventually we're trying to build consensus around the folks that we are working with so that all of us will be able to declare our asset. Why are we declaring our asset? Is if we are in parliament, if we are acquiring additional wealth, it should be measured against what we declare, other sources we have, because we really want to be transparent with the Liberian people, and that transparency will build trust. And if the trust is built in government, citizens are willing to pay their taxes. The taxes are then used to develop the country.
Wow, thank you for that. My last question for you is a bit more personal. We've talked about all the big things you're doing. And I want to mention that you're a family man. And so I'm curious how you balance everything, because you're doing a lot and then you have a family. How do you balance it out?
I think the balance rests on my wife, Mrs. Vivian Urey Yarkpawolo, who is currently in the Verona area. I'm in the Madison area, and I'm on the side. She's extremely patient with me. I do a lot of travel, and she has to be home and take care of the kids, and in most instances, she has to work. So I think part of it, I'm blessed to have a lady who is willing to put up with all these community service. Many of these services take my time away from her and her family, and she's willing to be able to support that. So I'm very grateful. So Vivian, we have our kids. Some of them are growing up. One of them is in the military, the other one in college. Some of the kids are here in Liberia with me. Some are with her back in the state. We have a developed family right now, but at some point we're trying to connect the family. But to answer your question, the credit is not to me, it's to a wife who is passionate about serving humanity, the work that I do, and she's at the background helping to allow that work to go because she too has passion about people and how to develop our work and make it a better place.
Thank you, Mrs. Vivian Urey. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo. I appreciate your time. And we're wishing you all the best in the incredible things that you're doing, the change that you're trying to bring to Liberia. And we're here to witness and to support it. If people want to keep up with your work, where should they go?
So in more instances, I have several websites. So Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo.org, that doctor is spelled Urey, Yarkpawolo, Dr. Urey Yarkpawolo, my information out there. But one can contact me. I'm on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, follow me, Emmanuel Urey Yarkpawolo. You'll be able to see me. You can also get my WhatsApp number if you wanted to contact me. That will be +231 778 165 702. +231 778 165 165 702. Sorry. So those are all areas. I'm very available online. When you Google my name, you see stuff come on, and then you can follow me. And I'll be happy to get in touch with anyone who is interested in talking to me more and collaborating the work we do in the NGO circles and other areas as well.
He is very responsive. Even though I've known him for many years, I actually contacted him via Facebook and he responded. So he's right. He's very responsive. So connect with him, learn about his work, and support his work. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you, Lena.